down. Hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of MGR Unplugged. We actually skipped last week. We were just so a lot of things happened. We were supposed to record as far as business stuff. So we just couldn't find the time. We kept pushing it back to Friday, and we apologize. We couldn't actually record one last week, but that's okay. We have one this week that is actually the one that we were supposed to do last week. And 2 weeks ago, we kind of briefly talked about the NFTs, of the Non-Fungible Tokens, also known as NFTs, I think.
Some people kind of call it that. There's a website that's NFTs.
NFTs, yeah.
But, NFTs.
I want people to get used to that word because it's going to be used quite a bit in the future. But anyways, that actually is something that you brought up. I didn't know much about him, and I was actually very curious and started doing more research about him and listened to a few of our podcasts with Jason Calacanis, Mark Cuban, and some others. And it is a pretty interesting, I would say, new feature, even though it's been around for a while. I mean, at least to 1 year or maybe two. I don't know how long it's been around.
For a few years. But it's like everything, what it was a few years ago is not what it is today. It's advanced a lot more. But
yeah, but it's really interesting because okay, we defined already what the NFTs are. The non-fungible tokens are basically tokens that are they are unique. You cannot trade them like one for one. Like we explained last time, you have $1, I have $1, we can trade them, whatever. Fungible, non-fungible mean that they are unique, and there's only one of them that exists, and you cannot do trading with them. So when you start thinking about that, one of the applications that is most commonly used these days for the NFTs is the what they call crypto art or digital art, which is, you see, when I was looking, there's a lot of websites or portals out there that have these collections of digital art where people basically bid on them, and they use the Ethereum protocol to bid on those.
Most cases,
yeah.
There is actually people trying to do it on Bitcoin too now, but for now mainly on Ethereum. Yeah.
Right.
With ERC20 tokens, which is based on the Ethereum.
Which is based on Ethereum. So they use the Ethereum protocol, and there's all kinds of things. I mean, basically, it's like an auction. You bid on them, or the seller can basically design some kind of digital art and then puts it for sale. They can have a minimum price, or they can just leave like an open bid, and then you sell it, and then you have different options. You can sell it, and then whoever buys it knows that unique piece is just unique and nobody else is going to have the same. And then when you resell it, you decide it's an investment basically like anything else. So that piece of art keeps accumulating value or growing in value, hopefully, if it's an investment. And then the good thing is that being on the blockchain, when you sell it, if you decide to sell it, then you have the option when you are the original designer to receive royalties for all the sales of that piece of art forever, basically. Yeah. So for example, if you, David, are a designer and design something and put it for sale, and you say, okay, I'm going to sell it for one Ethereum, one Ether, which today is about $1,500-$1,600 basically. And obviously the price changes, and I decide to buy it, and I buy it for $1,600 or basically one Ethereum.
Right. Basically, when I mint it, I can basically say, and the artist can choose whatever they want. Like I want 10%.
Right.
And I set up that way, and so then forever, basically.
Exactly.
If I sell something for $1,000 and I'm kind of an unknown artist and I sell for $1,000, then I get the first 1,000, right? Because obviously I'm the original. That's the first sale. But then say I become more popular and you sell it for 10,000. Well, I get 10%, so that's another $1,000.
Right.
And then maybe I'm a really famous artist down the road and you sell it for $1 million. I still get 10%.
Right.
Forever.
And it doesn't matter. There's no time limit or anything. So again, because that thing is totally traceable and trackable, you get that royalty for the lifespan of your lifetime or whatever, and all the time. So that is basically something that is a little more unique. So, I'm more used to a typical collectibles where you collect baseball cards or this or that, and then you buy one, you trade it, all that stuff, and it's just once you trade, you lost track of it. It's done. You get paid whatever you pay if you even trade or whatever, but then you basically it's gone. This is different. This is all digital or crypto art, and then it's traceable, trackable, and then you get, if like you said, when you mint it, which is another term that we need to explain a little bit, but you can mint your own art with different conditions, and then basically you get royalties no matter what. So it's not that somebody can sell it and say, well, I'm going to sell it this way or that way, and then you kind of go away off the blockchain or something. No, it's just going to be there all the time. So that's really interesting. So going back to one of the original ones is the famous Crypto Kitties, which was like little cats design, like digital little cats or kitties, basically, which to me, really, I don't know how they became so famous, because it's kind of like a little,
it's kind of like a meme. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar to Dogecoin, how Dogecoin, nobody takes it seriously, but it went up in value a lot.
Right.
Crypto Kitties was the same thing, and that was that 2 or 3 years ago?
About 2 or 3 years ago.
I
was looking
exactly,
at,
but
so
that was the first kind of major one. I mean, there's an NFT really is just a smart contract. So it's been around really for years. It's just that it hasn't been utilized, and it hasn't been easy to utilize. Now there's lots of platforms that are making it a lot easier. And really, we talk about art and collectibles and stuff like that. That's like the low-hanging fruit, because it's like the most obvious application right now. But I think there's going to be a lot more.
Exactly. It applies to a lot of different things. I mean, anything that you can convert to digital, and we'll get into that. But I mean, we started with like Crypto Kitties, like you said. It started like almost like a meme, like a joke, and then it became really big and popular, and then that kind of put the NFTs on the map, so to speak. And then, like more recently, we have you told me the other day about the CryptoPunks, and which is these avatars. And if people Google CryptoPunks, they're going to see tons of these things. To me, it's outrageous how people are paying so much money for those little avatars. But you were actually thinking, as an investment, what were the prices that were paying for those?
I mean, some of them were selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, correct. I mean, basically, they were selling for maybe 80, 90, 100 Ether, basically, which corrected is basically $150,000 or whatever. So, I mean, that to me, and like you said, I mean, I told you, I said I will never invest in that, and I'll put some shots. I'm looking at them right now, but for our non-video audience, I'll put some links and everything in the show notes. But to me, it's just an avatar that looks actually very basic, simplistic, pixelated, whatever you want to call it. But people are paying for those, and you said it perfectly. You said, but I don't care.
It's like a status symbol, though.
Right, exactly.
It's like anything. It's like I can buy a Timex watch for $5, and it'll tell me the time perfectly. Or I could buy a Rolex.
Right.
I mean, it's like everything.
Right. It's a status symbol, and also is again, because it's NFT, is unique, is yours. Nobody can copy it, do everything, whatever. And it's an investment too. I mean, like I told you, I'll never do that. It says I don't care if I don't like this thing, but if I know it's going to increase value, I'm going to buy it, and then you can resell it. So you buy something for, maybe $1,000, $2,000.
Right. I told you I was. There's someone made an ETF of CryptoPunks. Where they own like 180 CryptoPunks.
Oh, there is an ETF of CryptoPunks. I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was saying, I might invest in this. And you were saying, but those are so lame. And it's like, for me, I don't care about the CryptoPunk. I was like, but, there's plenty of modern art that I fucking think is bullshit, but is worth millions of dollars too. I don't care. Like, if I can make money, I don't really care. Yeah. Now, I do think there's definitely a little bubble right now with all this NFT art. Like, some of the art is kind of crazy. Like, unknown artists selling, like, some little 3D video animation for like $5,000.
I know.
Like,
I've seen him.
Okay.
There's websites like OpenSea and Reddable, and again, I will put this on the Zorro. I think you said the other day too. They have different categories, and you can see different arts or digital art, like you said, 3D animations or 2D animations sometimes, or even static.
It can be anything.
Static artwork.
It can be anything, but some of it is valuable, right? But some of it is like, I think, hey, good if you're an artist and you can sell something for 10 grand, good for you. But I don't know if that piece is gonna keep its value if it's like an unknown artist and
Right.
it's just selling because NFTs are hot right now.
Yeah, I think people at this point is a little bit of a trendy fashion fad thing where they say, "I'm gonna buy this thing," and then you go and show off saying, "I have this thing, and it's mine, and it's an NFT, and I own it and all that stuff." And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but so what? I mean, you have a poster on the wall, and it's. But anyways, the point is that it's just a new way of owning a piece of art in this case, or anything else that is basically non-fungible. Like basically it's not replicable. You cannot trade it. You cannot do anything. It's just basically unique. And that is what people actually, I think, value when they pay that kind of money for these pieces of art. But you mentioned before the like minted, and that's what I wanted to expand a little bit. So like a lot of people that may listen to us say, oh, well, it's just like if I have a design or something that I've done, I post it on eBay and people start bidding on it and then they buy it or whatever, and that's it. But it's different. I mean, when you mint something, you're basically, as people understand, mint is like when you create something, like you mint a coin, you mint a dollar bill, you mint things like, something that is basically just unique. So how you mint it when you create something is the key. How you create that token, for that piece of art. So, could you expand a little bit on that if you're more familiar with that aspect of the art?
Yeah, basically now there's platforms where you can just go and upload your piece of art, and essentially, I mean, like you said, you mint it, and so it's just tokenizing your art, and then creating a smart contract for it.
Right.
Basically.
Is that something? Because that's one of the things that when I was looking at the whole world of NFTs now, and I actually went to there's a fairly new startup, I think is called Mintable, which I think is one of the ones that Mark Cuban was investing in, I believe. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's one of them, where you can actually, they try to make it super simple that how you create your smart contract and you mint your art. You tokenize it, like you said, and then I'm not sure if that's a word, but and then you establish the conditions, like you said. I want to get like 10% in perpetuity or whatever. But one of the things that I found is that it's still a little bit challenging, to understand the whole process, the whole world, and all that. Even when you end up minting something and then you post it, you can create your own store on, like I said, websites like OpenSea and that stuff, where you have different pieces of art that you are maybe selling or reselling or whatever. So, do you think that will be a little more mainstream or simplified in the future? Because I think,
of course, it's like everything. I mean,
it's one of the things that is, I think, more of the barrier of entry for a lot of people. They say, well, I can sell this thing on eBay, or this is really the new eBay, So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like everything. It's like, go look at websites in 95. Okay, they're not that great.
Right.
We've come a long way as far as UI, UX, and making things much more friendly. But yeah, early days, it's a little complicated. Now, a lot of these platforms have made it a lot easier, but yeah, it's still not super simple right now to buy or sell. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that I had is like, okay, well, I mentioned eBay, I mentioned, like Etsy or whatever, all these platforms that are allowing creators to sell their art or their creations in general. Do you think, do you see in the future like they will create their own decentralized platform where, something on the blockchain where they will basically become like a little bit of their own auction platform, like these big fish that have already been in that game for a while, saying, hey, you know what, we need to create a decentralized platform where, like, facilitating these people that have art to do that. I know it's kind of defeats the purpose, because this is basically being decentralized, and you go to an eBay and you are basically locked into their system, But at the same time, if I'm eBay and I see that a lot of people are selling art or any kind of non-fungible piece, tokens, I think that I'll try to be in that space too, thinking, okay, I have all the infrastructure. There's nothing that prevents me from doing this too. I'm just trying to drive traffic to my platform.
But they don't have the infrastructure because it's a totally different infrastructure.
Right.
They have their own, basically Web 2.0 infrastructure, but they don't have any. They don't have anything that they've built on top of Ethereum or anything like that. So, no, I mean they can try, but you don't need eBay anymore. That's the point.
Right.
You don't need a middleman. Basically, these platforms are decentralized. You don't need a middleman.
Okay. No, I understand the point. Obviously, that's the whole thing. You eliminate the middle platform that is in when you just is direct to consumer, so to speak, in another way. But so let me ask you about the fees, because this is something that I've also been learning about, and that's something that is sometimes is kind of like a deal breaker, because we're talking about the gas fees, which is depending on the protocol you're using, how much traffic there is, and those kind of vary from platform to platform. But Ethereum has their own gas fees that sometimes could be higher or lower. So when you buy digital art, the gas fees apply to?
Yeah, any transaction.
Any transaction. So if I buy something, like I said, for 1 Ether, then I'm gonna end up paying whatever is the amount, depending on the amount of traffic on the blockchain to verify the transaction. So when do I find out about the fee? That's one thing that I don't know.
You'll know before you make the transaction. It'll tell you how much the fee is going to be.
Okay, so before it's already anticipating and telling you we estimate the transaction is going to be this much, and then you kind of factor that in. So it's almost like when you buy like precious metals or something, and you have whatever over spot, and they say that an ounce of gold is $1,800, and then they say, yeah, you buy it from a commodity exchange or commodity place. They say, yeah, you're gonna pay $50 over that. That's your markup, basically.
Yeah.
And they tell you ahead of time, and you say, okay, well, yeah, I can do that. Okay, all right, that clarifies. Okay. So I wanted to get. So obviously we talked about the crypto kitties and the crypto punks, but the one thing that I really think that is something that I understand more, especially you that are a basketball fan or sports fan too, is the NBA Top Shots. That's something that I never heard of it until basically you mentioned it a month ago or 3-4 weeks ago, and they've already made how many? 100?
I don't know. It's so much.
I think they made almost $200 million in selling this.
And it's only been month and a half or something.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when it started.
Yeah, they started selling
within the last 2 months.
So basically, this is another example where you own, and they have different levels that you can buy, different types of one is unique, and the other one you can have a group of people that own a limited edition type thing, but
it's just like sports cards.
Right.
There's the rare one of a kind, but then most sports cards, there's many copies of it, and
right.
The rarer the card, the more valuable, things like that.
Exactly. And they have different tiers. If you go to NBA topshots.com, I think is the website, they have all the different options there where it's selling, and then you can buy per team, depending on which team or by player or whatever. And then obviously depending on how much you're willing to pay, you can buy the unique rights for LeBron's dunk in the finals, whatever, and then you own the highlight and it's yours, and again it's non-fungible. So basically it's whatever you do with that one, and you decide to resell it, then you own royalties for forever. But the good thing is that obviously you don't have that kind of money to buy the whole thing. I was looking at who was the player? I forgot. It was it was something from the Suns. It was DeAndre, that his number is 22. And then they had a serial number for each of the highlights that they did. They had one highlight of a dunk in some game. I'm not a big fan, but he dunked or something. And then they made a limited edition of 50. And then you were bidding on those. And they had the number. You can choose the number of the one that you wanted. Obviously, from the ones available, it says 1 of 50, 2 of 50, 3 of 50. And they were all $1,000 something, $3,000, whatever. Obviously converted to Ether. But then the one that was 22, that was his number. If you want serial number 22, then it was 222,222 or whatever. Yeah, everything.
I think Top Shots is definitely in a bubble right now because, Donovan Mitchell regular season 3-pointer.
Yeah,
is could sell for $1,000, and I'm like.
Right. For a guy that makes like eight per game or something.
I mean, yeah, it's like I definitely think there will be things that are valuable, but some of them it's like I was looking at basic like guys who are like not even super famous players, and it was like a dunk for $200, and it's like a bench player, and I'm like, I don't know how valuable these are going to be. Like, I think there's definitely a bubble right now, but
they're selling a lot of things that are just very. I mean, I can see they sell something like Michael Jordan's.
Like come like playoff and finals and all that. I'm sure those will be valuable, but like a regular season 3 in the third quarter being worth $1,000. I don't know, man. I don't think anybody cares about that.
Yeah, well, apparently people do. I mean, but you go to the website. It's pretty interesting. But the bottom line is that they are making real money. I mean, they've sold about. I was looking. I'm not sure how currently. It was an article on CNBC talking about that, and then I think up until like last week or something, they already sold like $180 million worth of.
Which, by the way, perfect timing because the NBA was struggling with revenue, and now they have this new revenue source.
Now they have this new revenue stream, and not only that, I mean, this is just the NBA, which jumped right away on this NFT.
Oh, and now everybody else is
bandwagon. Exactly. I mean, I'm a
all the other leagues are. I guarantee you, NFL will come with their own very soon, and MLB and all. Yeah,
MLB, NFL, and Major League Soccer, all that stuff, and the World Cup and all that. And then I already, I'm more of a auto racing fan and follow specifically Formula One, as many of you already know. And they already have highlights of qualifying and poles and podiums and these and passes and overtake maneuvers and blah 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 and all that stuff. And they're going to steal that stuff. But it's funny the transition because F1 was so protective of all their material and videos and everything that they didn't allow people to put anything or highlights or anything on YouTube because F1 owned all the exclusive rights, and I remember I personally put some qualifying lap of Senna in Monaco that was super famous, and then YouTube basically gave me a pretty harsh warning saying you need to take that down or we'll do it for you basically. And I said, okay, I don't care, I was just a fan, but now they allow you to own it, if you pay the right money. So could this be and when you said that it is in a bubble, I mean
it'll have long-term value. I'm just saying some of these things because it's new and it's novel, I think are overvalued. Like I don't think like Josh Hart, who plays for the Pelicans, who is not a famous player, he was buying his own and they were like $600, and it's like okay, I don't think a Josh Hart 3-pointer from some random regular season game 4 years from now is going to be worth $600.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's like sports cards.
I don't even.
It's like it's just a new version of sports cards, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. In this case,
the truth is, most sports cards are completely worthless. It's only like the rare ones.
Right.
The same with Pokemon cards or anything like that. It's like the far majority of all these cards are fucking worthless. There's only like a certain set that are valuable. I think it'll be the same with the Top Shots. I'm sure the majority of like regular season highlights are going to be worth not that much.
It's funny you said that. Is this applicable also to video games? Like I'm not familiar with when you sell skins and things like that. Or
I guarantee you it's gonna be huge in video games. Huge. Yeah. I mean,
like when people buy skins or something, they can buy.
In-game items are huge in video games. That's like the biggest way all these companies make money now.
Right.
And I'm sure there will be NFTs in the future.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to be a big use too. So, but let's just step up a little bit to a higher level because this is just another application of the blockchain basically, where people are minting and creating these NFTs and buying and selling and so forth. So, again, I just... it's not mainstream yet, not even close. I mean, you talk to any person, friends, whatever, about NFTs, nobody knows where they are. And honestly, I didn't know up until like 2 months ago, and now I'm basically become a little mini expert by learning and listening to a podcast and all that stuff. But it's not something that is really mainstream. However, there's a community that is really into that. When you look at these websites and these places, I mean, there's a lot of people that are already into it. So it kind of reminds me, and you and I talked about this the other day, of like a .com when the websites were starting to come, and people like, oh, what is that? A website like .com, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like everybody had to have a website, like it became like an explosion. Every company just put a .com and it was like a big name, or whatever. .com was just a big investment. Yeah. So do you see some parallels between what happened back in the .com and what is happening now with blockchain?
if you go on like tech Twitter, all anybody's talking about is NFTs, and like all of a sudden all these companies are popping up trying to do NFT stuff. It's the same.
Right.
95% of these companies are going to fail. You know,
Right.
A lot of the platforms out there that exist right now, I'm sure won't exist in 5 years. It's like everything. There's going to be a ton of competitors, and then in the end, there will be a few winners.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, that's how it always is. It's the same thing. I mean, listen, in 2017, we had the altcoin boom where you had a ton of other cryptocurrencies. Majority of those failed.
I know.
You know?
Not even knows about it. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like everything. It's like survival of the fittest. You know, most will fail, but there will be ones that succeed, and they will be very large, and there will be a ton of money to be made. You know.
Right, and you need to factor in also the volatility of the actual coin itself. Like in this case, we're talking Ether, and you know, Ether has been like, you know, it was 2,000 last week. Now, you know, all crypto took a little dive in the last week or so. So now it's down to 1,500. So that art is also going to oscillate in value when you convert it to, you know, your current currency, your fiat currency. You kind of associate where you are, you know. So, all right, one more final topic for today, and we'll breeze through this real fast. But
before we get into that, let's take a quick break.
All right, we'll take a quick break, but we'll come back with decentralized finance and other option opportunities for high yield savings. All right, welcome back. Just one more topic to wrap it up for today. The other thing that I was looking into that I think is really actually so interesting for today's world. Well, we're talking about, you know, the Fed and all that stuff and low interest rates, but it's interesting how the decentralized financing, or DeFi in the official lingo, offers some alternative to savings where you can actually, you know, open a savings account with some kind of cryptocurrency that you choose, and then you get a more of a higher yield. And I'm talking about places like Aave that we actually looked into heavily last week. I think you actually put some money into that platform. It's spelled AAVE. There's also obviously BlockFi is much more, you know, known as far as commercially advertised and everything.
Yeah,
but basically,
BlockFi is not decentralized.
Yeah, well, it's different. Yeah, it's
that's why I don't like BlockFi.
Yeah,
because it's just like a bank, basically.
Yeah, they operate more like a bank, but even though they're not really like a bank because they are not FDIC insured as far as the funding.
They're worse than a bank, basically.
Right, exactly. But anyways, the let's just stick to the decentralized, which is Aave. I actually listened to the CEO the other day in a different podcast. But so in a nutshell, what these guys do is that you convert your fiat currency, whether you have dollars or euros or whatever, into some kind of stable coin, in this case, like DAI or US Coinbase dollars or whatever.
Or Tether or whatever.
Tether, yeah. Anything that is like basically stable coin, that means matches dollar for dollar to your currency. You cryptonize, if you will, that's the word, your fiat currency. And then you deposit it into their account, and then because they provide lending, it's almost like a peer-to-peer lending in the blockchain. So they provide lending to certain investors or people that want the lending for whatever startup or something. They're able to provide you with an interest rate or a yield on your amount that you lend that is much higher than what a bank will give you, which these days is basically zero. So depending on which coin you choose, you have different rates that vary from 2-3% to sometimes as high as 10-12%. I think if I've seen, which is a huge difference.
But
yeah, but
it just depends. It depends on the supply and demand of the pool, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's completely dynamic. That's the cool thing, that you can see actually the rates. It's not that you block or you lock a CD rate at 2% for the next 6 months or 12 months or something, and then it's locked. And then as long as you don't move your money, you get that savings rate at the end of the when the CD matures, basically. In this case, the rate actually is constantly oscillating depending on supply and demand. But you can see it, and it's a contract again with the blockchain, so you can see your savings rate go up and down. And then again, it's a stable coin, so you're not losing value with the actual coin itself. It's not like you invest in Ethereum or something, and then Ethereum or Bitcoin may go up and down, and then you lose value there or gain value. But this one, because it's a stable coin, you are matching dollar per dollar, and then if you put like $2,000, $3,000, and you get a 10% interest rate average, okay, through the year, then at the end of the year, you have like $300 that you just made that you can cash out. and it's a fairly simple transaction. So, and I think the interest is also added to your account on a weekly or daily basis. I mean, those are details that we need to look into.
It's based on every time there's a new block, it issues interest.
Right.
And I'm not sure the frequency of the blocks
Right.
with Aave, but yeah, every time there's
But
a new
it's
block.
it's
So
pretty frequent.
it pays very frequently.
Right. I mean, you can see your balance or your ledger basically, and you can see how whatever you deposited. 2-3 days later, you can see that you have $2-3 more, $4 more, $5 more, depending on obviously your principal and your interest. But you can see the growth on a fairly frequent basis. So you had a little experience with Aave so far. I know that it's a little bit kind of complicated still to transfer money to get because you need to transfer, first of all, you need to convert your fiat currency somewhere to a stable coin. And then you need to move that stable coin to a wallet that is connected to this entity, which in this case we're talking Aave. And then from that wallet, you transfer it to them, right? Is that more or less the process? And obviously there's a small fee or a fee depending on which.
Yeah, the problem was, not the problem, but basically it's just a lot of steps.
Right.
The first step is, so I decided, I was like, okay, well, I have a savings account with Synchrony Financial, and they used to give decent rates, like, I forget, like 2 point something.
That's before the interest rates
couple
went
years
way
ago.
down to zero.
And it's like, if you're just going to have cash parked, you always need cash. And so it's like,
Right.
okay, well, at least I get something. And now the interest is nothing. I mean, it's like
Right.
point something percent. I don't even know exactly what it is now. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try this. So I moved basically some money into basically I transferred it back to my checking, and then from my checking I bought I did DAI in this case. I like DAI just because it's completely open. As far as the protocol, it's not like Tether, which there's some questions about. But anyways, so I bought DAI, and then I bought DAI in Coinbase Pro, and then from Coinbase Pro I had to move it to a wallet.
To a wallet,
Yeah.
right.
So then I had to move it to a wallet, and then from the wallet I had to move it to Aave.
Aave.
And
right.
then on Aave, then you have to basically what's the right word? Like deposit it, so to speak.
Right.
So it was like multiple steps. And the problem with the fees is obviously, okay, I have to pay Coinbase their fee for buying it. And then I have to move it to a wallet, and there's a fee for that. And then moving it from the wallet to Aave, there's another fee for that. And then the other problem was Aave, I didn't realize when you actually deposit it, and basically when you do the confirmation, they only accept payment in Ethereum for the fees instead of DAI. So in the other case, I was paying DAI for my fees.
Okay, so you paid a gas fee.
So then I had to pay Ethereum, and I didn't have any Ethereum in that wallet. And so I had to go and fucking buy more Ethereum and then move it to that wallet.
Fee. Oh, I see.
And then
okay.
pay that fee. And it ended up being, all in all, the gas fee, like the forget the Coinbase fee, but the actual like movement fees I had to pay.
The Ethereum is probably what killed you. That's the one
That was the
highest.
biggest one.
Yeah.
And it was like
Ethereum alone probably was like $50 or something.
the total, basically from moving everything, excluding the Coinbase fee, I paid like $90 or something.
Wow.
So obviously, if you're doing a very large amount, that percentage is small, but that's irregardless. So if I was moving $100, I would have paid $90 in fees.
Yeah. So it means you need to make
So it
100% return to even make up the fees.
You
So
have to-
It's similar to when you buy stocks, and back in the days with the stock, the trading platforms, you have a $7 fee per transaction or per trade.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, I'm gonna buy one share of whatever, $100. So that's 7%. So that means the share needs to go up 7% just to make up the fee. So
Right.
whether you buy 100,000 or whatever, it's much
So
more.
in this case, because obviously I was using it as like a savings account, the relative amount of the $90 to what I was moving isn't super large, but it is still basically a percentage that I'm gonna have to make up.
So I didn't know that Aave requires that in Ethereum. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah, it's because
that's a setback for me. I mean, it's kind of
right now the big thing is moving everything to L2, and that'll reduce the fees a lot. But we're just not there yet.
Right.
We're not there yet.
Okay. Well, this comes back to the point that we're talking earlier about with the NFTs, about how
NFTs, same thing.
yeah, exactly. How all these transactions, not only do they have some fees that are because of the power requirements, we call gas fees of the actual protocol, but also the seamless transactions. I mean, when you go to like when the goal of all the transactions, even e-commerce, if you go back to normal e-commerce transactions, Amazon or whatever, is to make it seamless for the consumer to say, I want this, I pay for it, and I'm done. Now you have multiple steps, which are not so easy to understand for the average consumer. So obviously, they need to improve a lot in the interface. And you go to Aave's website, which is like a web app too that you can download. You can bookmark on your phone because it's not a traditional native app. So anyways, you can go there and research and all that. But bottom line is that all these little steps require a little bit of knowledge and expertise as far as getting them done. And so I'm not surprised that it kind of like, I wouldn't say that it scares, but it kind of like, it's not the average consumer maybe doesn't feel very comfortable doing this, but at the same time, they give you a higher yield, and once you're done. Basically, you just see your money grow. But again, this is just our opinion, and we're definitely not financial advisors. We're just kind of bringing things that we see as they happen, and I think they're interesting because, again, this is another part of DeFi or decentralized financing that is picking up quite a bit of steam. I mean, just like a few years ago or some years ago, we had all this peer-to-peer lending when people were not able to go to a bank and get a loan. Then they had this peer-to-peer lending where you get like more or less vetted, and then you can get a loan. This with DeFi, you actually have this security of the of the blockchain verifying your contract and everything else, and then you can basically get some yield off of your savings. The caveat is that it's not FDIC insured, therefore, play at your own risk if you're up for that, like anything else. So, any other comments, David, on this particular thing?
No, I think that's good for now. I'll keep exploring and learning more. But yeah, I mean, there's always new stuff. That's the cool thing. There's new stuff all the time.
It's actually very interesting. Like I said, I didn't know much of this for the last 2 weeks, and then after he and I talked, I started doing more research, and I'm really interested. And but it just happened so fast that even by coincidence, I actually listened to the CEO of Aave, which I believe is based in the UK or somewhere in England.
By the way, is it Aave? I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Aave or Aave? It's spelled AAVE. If anybody's wondering.
I thought it was Aave, but maybe it's Ave. I'm not sure. I say Aave. Maybe it's because of my Spanish background, but
I think Aave sounds a little better.
I don't know. It's spelled AAVE, and you can go to the website.
And by the way, Aave is just one.
It's just one of them, right?
It's one of the largest, and that's why I used it. But there's a ton of other ones too.
I wouldn't say a ton, but there's a few others.
There's a lot. There's Yearn. There's Curve.
There's a few.
There's a bunch of others.
So I mean, if you're interested in the topic, I definitely encourage you to look into it, because I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there that, again, they say knowledge is power. In this case, knowledge could be actually more than power, and it could be more financial options and money, which money is power too. But again, I mean, we're just giving you our opinion and things that we discover, and we actually practice on our own. I mean, with more or little money, just to kind of play the game and see how it works and go through all the steps like David just did. But if you are adventurous enough, just do it for yourself. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always send us a quick note and tell us, hey, I tried this thing, or could you give me some advice or whatever. We'll talk to you. I mean, as far as money, we definitely cannot give you advice, but we can tell you our experience, and then you take it as it is. So, all right, well, that's it for today, David. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I know that you are super cramped with your schedule. I had to kind of pull you out of your heavy things, and but I wanted to get this thing out today, and that's all we have. We'll see you soon, and everybody have a great weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.